The sound of ripping paper echoed through the bank like a gunshot. "There! I just saved the bank from a fraud!" the teller yelled as she threw the shredded pieces of paper at the man's face. She thought she was destroying a fake check. She was wrong. She just ripped up a certified check for $10 million. Watch the moment she realizes she just made the most expensive mistake in banking history. Before we go any further, comment where in the world you are watching from and make sure to subscribe because tomorrow's story is one you don't want to miss. David set his envelope on the counter in front of the glass partition. His voice remained calm, but there was an edge to it now. "Ma'am, I am a customer. My name is David Chen. I have a 3 o'clock appointment with Mr. Collins to open a new account and make a substantial deposit." Victoria laughed. It was a sharp, mocking sound. "Sure you do? Let me guess, you have $1 million in that backpack? Maybe you are secretly a prince?" "I am not asking you to believe anything," David said. "I am simply asking you to let me wait for my appointment. I can sit in the waiting area if my appearance bothers you." "Your appearance?" Victoria leaned forward, her voice rising. "You are covered in filth. You are making the entire lobby smell like a construction site. And yes, you are bothering me. You are bothering everyone here." She turned to address the other customers, as if seeking validation. "Am I right? Does anyone else feel uncomfortable?" Most people looked away, embarrassed to be drawn into the confrontation, but a few nodded hesitantly. One man near the window actually got up and moved to a seat farther away. Rosa spoke up from the next window. "Victoria, maybe we should just let him speak to Mr. Collins, if he has an appointment." "Stay out of this, Rosa," Victoria snapped. "You are not the manager. I am handling this." David took a slow breath. He had dealt with skepticism before. When you built a tech company from nothing, wearing hoodies to investor meetings, people made assumptions. But this was different. This was aggressive. This was humiliating. He pulled his phone from his pocket. The screen showed his wallpaper. A photo of the Quantum Leap logo with the date of the Microsoft acquisition announcement. "If you would just look at this," David began, holding the phone up. Victoria's hand shot out. She did not grab the phone, but she reached across the barrier, her fingers grasping at the air near it. "Do not record me. Do not you dare record me." "I am not recording you," David said, pulling the phone back. "I'm trying to show you proof of who I am." "I do not care who you claim to be," Victoria said. "You are trespassing. Security!" A large man in a dark uniform emerged from a side door. His nameplate read Marcus Williams. He was in his early 40s, with the rigid posture of someone with military training. He approached the scene with caution, his eyes taking in David's appearance and Victoria's agitated state. "Ma'am," Marcus addressed Victoria, "what seems to be the problem?" Victoria pointed at David like he was an exhibit in a trial. "This man refuses to leave. He is claiming to have an appointment, but look at him, Marcus. He is clearly lying. I asked him to leave politely, and he became aggressive." "I did not become aggressive," David said firmly, turning to Marcus. "I have been nothing but polite. I have an appointment at 3 with the bank manager, Mr. Collins, to deposit a check. That is all." Marcus looked uncomfortable. He glanced between David and Victoria, clearly trying to assess the situation. "Sir, do you have any identification?" Marcus asked. David reached for his wallet. He pulled out his driver's license and held it up. "David Chen, that is me. If you call Mr. Collins, he will confirm my appointment." Victoria snatched the license from his hand before Marcus could take it. She barely glanced at it before handing it back. "Anyone can have a fake ID," she said dismissively. "Marcus, I want him removed, now. He is making customers uncomfortable, and he is refusing to comply with a direct request from bank staff." "Ma'am," Marcus said slowly, "if he says he has an appointment, maybe we should just verify." "Are you questioning me?" Victoria's voice went cold. "I am a senior teller at this branch. I have been here for 3 years. I know a scammer when I see one. Now do your job, or I will report you for insubordination." Marcus's jaw tightened. David could see the conflict on his face. He was being put in an impossible position. Sir, Marcus said quietly to David, I am going to have to ask you to step outside while we sort this out. David felt heat rising in his chest. Not anger yet, but something close. Frustration. Indignation. He had served his country through his technology. He had built something from nothing. He employed 17 people, and now he was being treated like a criminal because he had dust on his clothes. I am not leaving, David said. I have done nothing wrong. Call Mr. Collins, right now. That is all I am asking. Mr. Collins is busy with actual clients, Victoria said. She turned to her computer screen and made a show of typing. Oh, look, I see no appointment under your name. What a surprise. Then you are looking in the wrong place, David said. He set his envelope on the counter again, this time more firmly. This is a certified check from Goldman Sachs. I am here to deposit it. That is why I have an appointment. Now please, for the last time, let me speak to Mr. Collins. Victoria stared at the envelope like it was a piece of trash someone had dropped on her counter. She did not reach for it. She did not even look curious. A certified check from Goldman Sachs, she repeated, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Right, and I suppose it is for $1 million? 10 million, actually, David said quietly. The lobby went silent. Even the people who had been pretending not to listen turned their heads. Victoria's face twisted into a sneer. $10 million. You, in those clothes with paint all over you, do you think I am an idiot? She reached across the counter and grabbed the envelope. David expected her to open it, to look inside, to see the check, and realize her mistake. That is what any reasonable person would do. Instead, Victoria held the envelope up in front of her face, and with a sharp, deliberate motion, she tore it in half. The sound of ripping paper cut through the lobby like a gunshot. David's breath caught in his throat. What did you just do? Victoria tore the envelope again and again, shredding it into pieces. The check inside, the official certified check with its watermarks and security features and $10 million value, fluttered to the counter in fragments. I just saved this bank from a fraud attempt, Victoria said. She swept the pieces off the counter with the back of her hand. They scattered across the floor like confetti. Food stamp coupons, fake checks, whatever scam you are running, it ends here. David stared at the pieces on the floor. His voice when he spoke was very quiet, very controlled. You just destroyed a legal financial instrument worth $10 million. Victoria laughed. It was a high, sharp sound. Sure I did, and I am the Queen of England. She came out from behind the counter. The other tellers watched with wide eyes. Rosa had her hand over her mouth. The customers in the lobby had their phones out now. Several were recording. Victoria walked right up to David, invading his space. She was a full head shorter than him, but she jabbed her finger into his chest. You need to leave right now, before I have you arrested for attempted fraud and harassment. David did not move. You assaulted me. You destroyed my property, and you are doing it in front of witnesses. I strongly suggest you stop. Assaulted you? Victoria's voice climbed higher. You came into my bank, tried to run a scam, and now you're threatening me? She placed both palms against David's chest and shoved him, hard. David stumbled backward. He was not expecting the physical contact. His backpack slipped from his shoulder and hit the floor. The zipper had not been fully closed. Papers spilled out across the marble. The elderly woman in the cream suit, the one who had been ahead of him in line, bent down instinctively to help. Her name was Margaret Sullivan, though David did not know that yet. She picked up the document closest to her feet. Her eyes went wide as she read the header. Quantum Leap Technologies, Margaret read aloud. Acquisition agreement, purchase price $10 million, buyer Microsoft Corporation. She looked up at David, then at Victoria. This looks real. Victoria snatched the paper from Margaret's hands. It is a forgery. You can print anything these days. Are you all blind? But her voice had lost some of its certainty. Her eyes scanned the document. David could see her taking in the official letterhead, the signatures, the notary stamp. Ma'am, I am going to need you to step back, Marcus said. He had been standing to the side, uncertain, but Victoria's physical shove had crossed a line. You cannot put your hands on customers." "He is not a customer," Victoria whirled on Marcus. "He is a con artist, and you are going to stand there and let him make fools of all of us?" Marcus looked at the papers on the floor. He looked at David. He looked at the pieces of the torn check. "Sir," Marcus said to David, "I think there has been a misunderstanding. If you have documentation." "No," Victoria cut him off. "No misunderstanding. Marcus, I am telling you right now, as a senior employee of this bank, this man is trespassing. Either you remove him or I will call the police and have them remove both of you." Marcus's face hardened. David could see the calculation happening behind his eyes. He was a security guard. Victoria was a longtime employee. If he went against her and she was right, he would lose his job. If he went against her and she was wrong, he would still probably lose his job because she clearly had the temperament to make his life hell. "Sir," Marcus said, and David heard the apology in his voice even before the words came. "I am going to have to ask you to come with me. We can sort this out at the security office." "I am not going anywhere," David said. "Call Mr. Collins. That is all you have to do. Call him." "Mr. Collins is in meetings all afternoon," Victoria said quickly. "He does not have time for this nonsense." David pulled his phone out again. The screen was still intact, though the protective case had a crack in it from when Victoria had tried to grab it earlier. He swiped to his contacts and found his lawyer's number. "Then I am calling my attorney," David said, "and I am documenting everything that has happened here." Victoria's face went red. "You are not calling anyone. Give me that phone." She lunged for it. David pulled back, but Victoria was fast. Her fingers closed around the edge of the phone. They struggled for it briefly, a ridiculous tug of war in the middle of a bank lobby. Then Victoria yanked hard, and the phone flew from David's grip. It hit the marble floor with a sickening crack. The screen spiderwebbed instantly. "Oops," Victoria said. She did not sound sorry at all. David looked at his broken phone. He looked at the shredded check. He looked at his scattered papers. And he felt something shift inside him. Not rage. Not yet. But a cold, clear understanding that this woman was not going to stop until she had humiliated him completely. "You just destroyed my personal property," David said. His voice was steady, calm, the kind of calm that comes right before a storm. "You have assaulted me twice. You have destroyed a financial instrument. All of this is on camera." He pointed up at the security cameras mounted in the corners of the lobby. "And several people are recording on their phones. You have witnesses, you have evidence, and you are going to regret every single second of this." Victoria's eyes flicked to the cameras, then to the phones pointed in her direction. For the first time, David saw a flicker of doubt cross her face. But she was in too deep now. She had committed, and people like Victoria Preston did not back down. "Marcus," she said, her voice shaking slightly, "I want him arrested. Trespassing, destruction of property, threatening behavior. I want him in handcuffs, right now." Marcus looked miserable. "Ma'am, I do not think." "Do your job," Victoria screamed, "or I swear to God I will have you fired before the end of the day." Marcus closed his eyes briefly. Then he reached for his belt and pulled out a pair of zip-tie handcuffs. "Sir," he said quietly to David, "I am very sorry. Please put your hands behind your back." David could not believe what was happening. "You cannot be serious." "I have to follow protocol," Marcus said. "If an employee reports a threat, I have to detain the individual until police arrive. It is policy." "I did not threaten anyone," David said. "Just comply, sir. Please, we will get this sorted out." David looked around the lobby. Every eye was on him. Margaret Sullivan looked horrified. Rosa, the other teller, had tears in her eyes. The other customers were frozen, watching like this was a television show. And then David noticed something. Rosa had her phone out. Not watching, not scrolling. The camera was pointed directly at him, at Victoria, at Marcus. The red recording dot was visible on the screen. She was filming everything. David met her eyes. Rosa gave the tiniest nod. "Fine," David said. He turned around and placed his hands behind his back. but you should know that this is going to be the most expensive mistake this bank has ever made." Marcus secured the zip ties around David's wrists. They were tight, uncomfortable, humiliating. Victoria stood with her arms crossed, a triumphant smile on her face. Finally, some competence around here. She turned to address the lobby as if she were a general who had just won a great battle. "I apologize for the disruption, everyone. Sterling Trust takes security very seriously. We will not tolerate fraud or aggressive behavior of any kind." Behind her, on the wall, a large banner hung in the lobby. It showed diverse faces of various ages and backgrounds, all smiling. The text read, "Sterling Trust, banking for everyone. No judgment, no barriers, just service." David looked at that banner. Then he looked at Victoria. "You might want to take that sign down," he said softly. The glass doors at the front of the bank suddenly swung open. A man in a gray suit rushed in, slightly out of breath. He was in his early 50s, with silver hair and reading glasses perched on his nose. His face was flushed, like he had been running. "What in God's name is going on here?" the man said. Victoria turned. Her triumphant expression faltered. "Mr. Collins, I did not know you were back from lunch." Mr. Collins, the branch manager, stared at the scene before him. David Chen, hands zip-tied behind his back, papers scattered across the floor, a broken phone, Victoria standing in the middle of it all with her arms crossed, and roughly 20 people with their phones out, recording everything. "Victoria," Mr. Collins said slowly, "why is there a man in restraints in my lobby?" "Sir, I caught this individual attempting to perpetrate fraud," Victoria said quickly. "He came in dressed like a homeless person and tried to deposit a fake check for $10 million. I followed all protocols. I called security. He became aggressive." Mr. Collins walked closer. His eyes swept the floor, taking in the scattered documents. He bent down and picked up a piece of paper. It was part of the acquisition agreement. His eyes widened as he read. "Quantum Leap Technologies," he murmured. Then his head snapped up. "Wait, Mr. Chen?" David nodded. "Hello, Mr. Collins. We met at TechCrunch last month. You invited me to open an account after the acquisition closed." The color drained from Victoria's face. Mr. Collins rushed over to Marcus. "Get those restraints off him immediately." Marcus fumbled with his pocket knife, cutting through the zip ties. They fell to the floor. David rubbed his wrists. Red marks circled them where the plastic had bitten into his skin. "Mr. Chen, I am so incredibly sorry," Mr. Collins said. His voice was shaking. This is unacceptable. I do not know what happened, but—" "I can tell you what happened," David said calmly. He bent down and picked up a piece of the shredded check. "I came in for my 3 o'clock appointment. Your teller, Miss Preston, decided I looked too poor to be a real customer. She sprayed me with disinfectant. She refused to serve me. She destroyed my certified check. She physically assaulted me. She broke my phone. And then she had me placed in handcuffs." Mr. Collins turned to Victoria. His face had gone from flushed to bone white. "Victoria, please tell me he is exaggerating." Victoria opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. "Sir, he looks suspicious. I was protecting the bank." "Protecting the bank," Mr. Collins repeated. He picked up another piece of the torn check from the floor. Even ripped, the Goldman Sachs logo was visible, the security watermark, the official stamp. His hand was shaking as he held it up. This was a real check. I did not," Victoria stammered. David reached into his jacket pocket. From an inner compartment, he pulled out a second envelope. This one was sealed. "Fortunately," David said, "my attorney advised me to keep the original in a safe place and bring a copy for the deposit. What Miss Preston destroyed was the copy, but I think that is beside the point." He opened the envelope and pulled out the check. Mr. Collins took it with trembling hands. His eyes scanned the amount. $10 million, made out to David Chen, signed and certified by Goldman Sachs. "Oh my God," Mr. Collins whispered. Rose's phone buzzed. She looked down at the screen and her face went pale. "Victoria," she said quietly, "you need to see this." She turned her phone around. The screen showed a TikTok video. The view count was climbing in real time. 50,000, $55,000, $60,000. The caption read, "Bank Karen destroys $10 million check and assaults tech millionaire Sterling Trust Bank Manhattan." The video showed everything. Victoria spraying David, Victoria ripping the check, Victoria shoving him, Victoria breaking his phone, Marcus putting him in handcuffs. And it was going viral. Victoria lunged for Rosa's phone. "Delete that! Delete it right now!" Rosa pulled the phone back, clutching it to her chest. "I cannot. It has already been shared 200 times, 300. It is everywhere." Victoria's breathing became rapid. She turned to the customers in the lobby, her voice rising to a desperate pitch. "Stop recording! All of you! This is private property! You cannot film without permission!" But no one lowered their phones. If anything, more people pulled them out. The story was too good. The drama too perfect. A rich person humiliated for looking poor. A bank employee destroying a $10 million check. It was the kind of content that algorithms loved. Margaret Sullivan, the elderly woman in the cream suit, stepped forward. She had been quiet throughout the ordeal, but now her voice rang out clear and strong. "Young woman," she said to Victoria, "I have been a customer of this bank for 37 years. I have never in all that time seen anyone treated with such cruelty and disrespect. You should be ashamed of yourself." Victoria's face crumpled. "I was just doing my job. I was protecting." "You were protecting nothing," Margaret said. "You were judging, and you were wrong." The front doors of the bank burst open again. A woman in a red blazer strode in, followed by a man with a professional video camera on his shoulder. The woman had perfect hair, perfect makeup, and the confident stride of someone who knew she was about to get an incredible story. "I am Jessica Reyes with Channel 7 News," she announced. Her eyes scanned the lobby and locked onto David. "We received multiple tips about a viral incident happening right now at this location. Are you David Chen?" David nodded slowly. "I am." Jessica's cameraman was already filming. A red light blinked on the camera. This was going out live. "Mr. Chen, our newsroom has been flooded with a video showing you being assaulted and restrained by bank staff after attempting to deposit a $10 million check. Can you confirm this is what happened?" David held up his wrists. The red marks from the zip ties were clearly visible. He held up his broken phone. He pointed to the shredded pieces of the check on the floor. "That is exactly what happened," he said. Jessica turned to her camera, speaking directly to the viewers. "We are here live at Sterling Trust Bank on 5th Avenue, where a shocking incident of what appears to be classism and discrimination has just unfolded. Tech entrepreneur David Chen, founder of Quantum Leap Technologies, which was recently acquired by Microsoft for $10 million, came to this bank to deposit his check. What happened next has already been viewed by hundreds of thousands of people online." She turned back to David. "Mr. Chen, can you walk us through what occurred?" David glanced at Mr. Collins. The bank manager looked like he wanted to disappear into the floor. But David was not cruel. He was angry. Yes, humiliated, absolutely. But he was not going to destroy people on live television if he could avoid it. "I think the video speaks for itself," David said carefully. "I came here as a customer. I was treated as something less than human because of how I looked. The teller made assumptions. She was wrong. And instead of correcting her mistake, she escalated the situation until I was physically restrained." Jessica turned to Victoria. The camera swung to focus on her face. In that moment, Victoria Preston became the most famous bank teller in America. Her face was being broadcast live to tens of thousands of viewers. Her name would be attached to this story forever. "Miss, do you have anything to say?" Jessica asked. Victoria's mouth opened and closed. No sound came out. Her eyes were glassy with tears. She looked at the camera, at David, at Mr. Collins, at the crowd of customers. Then she turned and ran toward the back offices. The camera followed her retreat. The door slammed behind her. Jessica turned back to the camera. "Stunning. Absolutely stunning. Behind me, you can see a banner that reads, 'Banking for Everyone.' The irony of that message, given what we have just witnessed, is not lost on anyone here." She walked over to the banner and gestured to it. Sterling Trust Bank promotes itself as an inclusive institution. Yet what we have documented here today tells a very different story. Mr. Collins stepped forward, his corporate training kicking in despite his obvious distress. Channel 7, I want to make it clear that Sterling Trust does not condone this behavior in any way. What happened here today does not reflect our values or our policies. We will be conducting a full investigation, and appropriate disciplinary action will be taken. Disciplinary action? Jessica's eyebrows rose. Mr. Chen was assaulted. His property was destroyed. He was illegally detained. Are we talking about disciplinary action, or are we talking about termination and possible criminal charges? Mr. Collins swallowed hard. I cannot comment on specific personnel actions at this time. Can you comment on whether Mr. Chen will be filing a lawsuit? All eyes turned to David. He took a breath. Right now, I am more interested in making sure this does not happen to anyone else. I came here to film a documentary about how people treat others based on appearance. I have been working on this project for 6 months, wearing different clothes to different establishments, recording interactions with a hidden camera. He gestured to his shirt. A tiny button near his collar caught the light. It was a camera lens. I never expected to become the story, David continued, but here we are. So yes, my attorney will be reviewing all footage and determining the appropriate legal response. But more importantly, I hope this serves as a reminder that you cannot judge a person's worth by their clothes, their job, or their appearance. Jessica nodded solemnly. A powerful message. We will continue to follow this story as it develops. This is Jessica Reyes reporting live from Sterling Trust Bank. The cameraman lowered his equipment, but the damage was done. The broadcast had gone out. The video was everywhere. Rosa approached David quietly. Mr. Chen, I am so sorry. I should have done more. I should have stopped her. David looked at the young woman. She had tears running down her face. She was the only one who had tried to help, even in a small way. You recorded it, he said gently. You made sure there was evidence. Thank you. Rosa nodded, wiping her eyes. Mr. Collins cleared his throat. Mr. Chen, please, let us go to my office. I want to personally handle your account opening and ensure you receive the service you deserved from the beginning. And of course, we will be offering compensation for this incident. David looked at the manager for a long moment. Then he shook his head. I appreciate that, Mr. Collins, but I do not think I'll be banking with Sterling Trust after all. I'm sure you understand. He bent down and began gathering his scattered papers, placing them carefully back into his backpack. Margaret Sullivan helped him, handing him documents one by one. Marcus stood nearby, looking miserable. Sir, Marcus said quietly, I am sorry. I was just following orders. I should have... You were in an impossible position, David said. I understand that. But next time someone tells you to do something that feels wrong, I hope you will trust that instinct. Marcus nodded, his jaw tight. David picked up his broken phone, his shredded check copy, and his dignity. He walked toward the door. The crowd of customers parted for him like a sea. As he reached the exit, he turned back one last time. Banking for everyone, he said, pointing at the banner. You might want to take that down. Then he was gone. 6 months later, the new headquarters of Quantum Leap Technologies occupied the top 3 floors of a glass tower in Lower Manhattan. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered a breathtaking view of the Hudson River. The office space was modern but comfortable, with an open floor plan that encouraged collaboration. Employees worked at standing desks, lounged in creative spaces, or held meetings in glass-walled conference rooms. David Chen stood in his corner office, wearing dark jeans and a casual blazer over a t-shirt. He had not changed his style. If anything, he leaned into it harder now. Comfort over appearance, function over fashion. He was who he was. A knock on his door made him turn. Rosa Martinez entered, holding a tablet and wearing a professional dress. She looked different from the nervous bank teller she had been 6 months ago. More confident. More herself. Mr. Chen, she said, the applications for the Second Chances Fund are incredible. We have 500 applications just this week. People who have been homeless, people coming out of prison, people who just need someone to believe in them. David smiled. That is amazing, Rosa. How many can we fund this quarter? With the current budget, about 50 full scholarships for job training programs, but I think we should consider expanding. Agreed. Draft a proposal and we will review it with the board next week. Rosa nodded, then hesitated. Mr. Chen, there is something else. A letter came for you today from Sterling Trust Bank. She handed him an envelope. David opened it. Inside was a formal letter on expensive stationery. Dear Mr. Chen, he read aloud. On behalf of Sterling Trust Bank, I write to offer our deepest apologies for the incident that occurred at our Fifth Avenue branch. We have conducted a thorough investigation and implemented new training protocols for all staff. Additionally, we would like to offer you a settlement of $500,000 as compensation for the distress and damages you suffered. We hope this gesture demonstrates our commitment to making things right. David set the letter down. They are scared of the lawsuit. Are you going to take it? Rosa asked. David walked to his window and looked out at the city. Somewhere out there, people were being judged unfairly every single day. For their clothes, their accent, their skin color, their address. Money could not fix that, but maybe it could help. Transfer the entire amount to the Second Chances Fund, he said. Every penny. Let something good come from something ugly. Rosa smiled. I will take care of it. As she turned to leave, David called after her. Rosa, you know you do not have to call me Mr. Chen, right? David is fine. She grinned. I know, Mr. Chen, but you are the boss. It feels respectful. You are the community outreach manager. That makes you a boss, too. After she left, David sat down at his desk. His computer was open to a news website. Out of curiosity, he typed Victoria Preston into the search bar. The results appeared instantly. The original video had been viewed over 15 million times. It had been covered by every major news outlet. It had spawned think pieces about classism, discrimination, and the banking industry. It had become a case study in business schools about what not to do. And Victoria Preston had become infamous. According to the articles, she had been terminated immediately after the incident. Sterling Trust Bank had faced a federal investigation and been fined $2 million for discriminatory practices. The bank had lost so many customers in the aftermath that the Fifth Avenue branch had closed permanently just 4 months later. Victoria herself had struggled to find work. Her name was poison in the financial industry. No bank would touch her. No company wanted the liability. The last David had heard, she was working night shifts at a gas station in New Jersey. He felt a pang of something. Not quite sympathy, but not satisfaction either. He had not wanted to ruin her life. He had just wanted to be treated like a human being. His phone buzzed. A text from his lawyer. Forbes magazine wants to do a cover story. The Compassionate Entrepreneur. Interested? David typed back, only if they let me talk about the Second Chances Fund. Done. Interview next week. David set his phone down and looked around his office. On the wall behind his desk, mounted in a simple black frame, was the torn check. The pieces had been carefully reassembled and preserved behind glass. Below it, a small plaque read, Never judge a book by its cover, a $10 million reminder. It served as a daily reminder, not of his triumph, but of his responsibility. He had been given a platform, he had been given resources, and he intended to use them to make sure fewer people experienced what he had experienced. A soft chime indicated someone was at the door. It was Margaret Sullivan, the elderly woman from the bank. She had become an unexpected friend and advisor. David had learned she was a retired civil rights attorney with decades of experience fighting discrimination cases. David, she said warmly, I brought lunch. I hope you have not eaten yet. Margaret, you did not have to do that. Nonsense. Someone needs to make sure you eat something other than takeout. She set a bag on his desk. Besides, I wanted to show you something. She pulled out her phone and showed him a news article. Remember Marcus Williams, the security guard? David nodded. I wrote him a recommendation letter. Well, He just got hired as head of security for a major tech firm in Silicon Valley. He sent me a note thanking you. Said you changed his life by giving him a second chance." David felt warmth in his chest. He was just doing his job that day. He was put in a terrible position. "And you recognize that," Margaret said. "That is why people respect you, David. Not because you are rich, because you are fair." They ate lunch together, talking about the foundation, about upcoming projects, about life. Through the window, Manhattan stretched out before them. Millions of people, all with their own stories, their own struggles, their own worth that had nothing to do with their bank accounts. Later that evening, David recorded a video for the documentary he had been working on. He sat in front of a plain background, the torn check visible on the wall behind him. 6 months ago, I walked into a bank to deposit a check, he said to the camera. I was treated like garbage because I looked poor. The video went viral. The bank teller lost her job, and everyone wanted to know if I felt vindicated. He paused, choosing his words carefully. The truth is, I do not feel vindicated. I feel sad. Sad that we live in a world where people are valued based on their appearance. Sad that someone lost their livelihood because they were taught to judge rather than to serve. Sad that this happens every single day to people who do not have the resources to fight back. So I am not here to celebrate what happened to Victoria Preston. I am here to ask what we can do differently. How can we build a society that sees people, really sees them, regardless of what they are wearing or where they come from? That is why I started the Second Chances Fund, because everyone deserves a chance to be seen for who they really are, not what they look like, not where they have been, but who they are working to become. He stopped the recording and played it back. It was good, honest, hopeful. That night, before he left the office, David stood one more time in front of the framed check. $10 million, torn to pieces, reassembled with care. It had cost him nothing. The copy had been replaced. The money had been deposited. But the lesson remained. Never judge a book by its cover. He turned off the lights and headed home. I hope you enjoyed that story. Please like the video and subscribe so that you do not miss out on the next one. In the meantime, I have handpicked 2 stories for you that I think you will enjoy. Have a great day.